All right, I have 10 o'clock. I'd like to open the Town of Southbridge special meeting of the Board of Health. It's Friday, May 17, 2024, again, 10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Kevin Spillane.
Present.
Gus Steves.
Present.
Gil Provost.
Present.
Roland Larishell.
Present.
Jasmine Canones.
Absent.
Thank you.
Okay, Agenda 3, special meeting agenda items. Vote to put the following items on hold pending the cost analysis of the impact of enacting these regulations have on the fee rate. In discussions I've had, and it's both been myself reaching out and the finance people reaching back, they have some real big concerns. This trash system is funded by an enterprise fund. Now, I have a definition here that a lot of increasing communities establishing enterprise funds for their business type services, example, water, sewer, trash, ambulance, skating rinks, etc. They adopt an enterprise fund by a vote at a town meeting or city council, which was done. The enterprise fund establishes a separate account and financing reporting mechanism for municipal service for which a fee is charged in exchange for goods and service. Mass General Law, Section 44, Chapter 44, Section 53F and a half. Under enterprise funds accounting, the service revenues and expenditures are segregated into two separate funds with its own financial statement, rather than being commingled with the revenues and expenses of all other government activity. This goes on for pages, but that's the synopsis of the enterprise fund. So the big concern with the finance department of this town is that we're only a month and a half into this. There is absolutely no financial data available right now, and even at a month and a half, it's not going to be correct. They are requesting, and they are very concerned because any reduction that we enact through regulation is going to possibly have an effect on the rate. When you have the enterprise fund, if our receipts coming in do not match our debt going out, there's two ways to get that debt. Reduce services, raise the rates. So they were requested, and I am not requesting to go back on these votes because that takes a whole different Robert's rules to change the votes. What I am requesting is that they're separated A and B, but to put enactment of these on hold until such time that this town can get figures that we can make a conscious, educated decision on what impact this is going to have on the rate of the trash. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying to turn them around. I'm just saying to shelve these. And going on in the future, if more things, which will be up to the board, if you request me to put things on the agenda about different rate increases, we can talk about it. If it's voted no, it's no. But if it's voted yes, I would like those to follow the same thing, and we'll make amendments and that if it's voted yes, that we wait to enact these through a public hearing and everything else until such time that we can have the cost estimates so that we can actually see what impact this is going to have on the town. Any questions for the board?
Yeah, do we have a time frame as far as what finance is saying?
They were unable to give a concrete time frame because the other issue that we've been having is, and it's been overwhelming for Ritz's office, because originally when this went on back when we were on Dave Adams,
Yep.
I think Andy's numbers were something like 7,500 units was the base of what we would be serving up to 6 families.
And I think we have actually 6,000 something.
I don't remember what the actual number was, but the problem that's going on now with the limited amount of time, people are opting out. She's got the record of how many are opting out. But now you have to take all this opting out. Is it a single unit? Is it 2 units? Is it 6 units?
Right, true.
So they've been focused right now on trying to answer questions on miscommunication that's out there, and to do this opt-out stuff, and to educate the people that you got till the end of the month, which, by whatever means, it did not happen before. You got till April, May 30th, and then the town's gonna have time to process these requests so that it doesn't show up on your bill starting June 1.
Right.
I mean, July 1.
Right.
So it's like any other time, there's a time period. So right now, it depends on how we can get hands to analyze this stuff, but it's gotta have enough time to get accurate stuff. So there's no cut and dry time period.
So are you thinking that we won't hold a public hearing that we're talking about?
I would like to put these on hold,
Yeah.
not to change the vote,
Yeah.
put them on hold. That will eliminate the public hearing, that will eliminate the cost of advertising, and then at such time that if we get the analysis that say this will have no or minimal impact and the board decides to put this up,
Yeah.
then we'll schedule a public hearing.
Honestly, I think it makes sense to do that, because if we have other changes we want to consider, it would make sense to put them all to one public
Well,
hearing anyway.
we'll have time to also do that instead of having multiple public hearings
Yeah.
on one or two items.
Exactly.
But that'll be in the future, time to be determined, because we want to have enough accurate information.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
I'm good.
Councilor McKetty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. So I don't know how long it would take them to do an analysis of this. I mean, I just did a ballpark analysis on my own. It's budgeted, we'll be voting on the budget for curbside, $2,485,400. In 2022, I did serve on that curbside committee, and Anna Smith and Mr. Pelletier told us at that hearing, that committee, we had 6,300 households that we were servicing. So let's just say for the sake of a ballpark figure, that we've lost 300. So it's 6,000 households times 460 a year, that's $2,760,000. Well, that's about a $300,000 cushion of what we are budgeted for. So now the 2023 census that I took a look at for Southbridge, 14% of residents are seniors. 14%, and I'm just gonna use 14% as a base. I don't really know the exact number, but I bet you it's close. 14% of 6,000 is about 840 seniors. So if they got a $120 discount, which is what you're proposing, $30 a quarter, that's $120 a year. So $460 a year minus 120, they would be paying about $340 a year. So 840 seniors times 340, 285,600. What's left over? 5,160 out of 66,000, 5,160 times the full amount, 460 a year, is 2,373,600 plus the 285,600 that the seniors are paying, would be paying, is almost 2.7 million. So you still have a $173,000 cushion to work with here. So I don't really know what the panic is over this. I also took a look, let's let me finish and then I'll stop. If you had vacant properties, and I don't know how many are vacant, I'm just gonna guesstimate that there's maybe 100 vacant properties in town. I've been told that the building inspector has a list of vacant properties based on water and sewer. So let's say you had 5,000 people who are paying $460 a year, 2.3 million plus the 285,000 the seniors, are still over the budget, 2,613,200. So that's still a pretty good cushion under what it's budgeted for. So I don't know what the panic is about. I've been on the council long enough to know that anytime somebody says we want to postpone something with no definite date, or we want to put something on hold with no definite date, I smell somebody trying to kill an agenda. I've known it for 5 years now, I've seen that happen. If there's no date that you have until this date to come up with the figures, they're trying to kill it, and I've seen it so many times. So I'm not sure what the panic is in here. I think that, I don't see why they couldn't come up with a number by the time you have your public hearing. So I'll stop for now. Thank you.
Okay, I would not use the term panic, I would say caution, because they approached me in caution. What was not included in your figures, and we appreciate your figures, was the cost of Maritza's new position,
Covered by this cost.
covered by the cost, and the trash
All
auditors.
covered by this budgeted cost.
I found something out yesterday, by the way, that per vacant property that stunned me. Somebody questioned on their vacant property, and they questioned this, and they went to the water supply. Do you know you're getting a water bill unless you have the water shut off at your street? You can have the meter removed, you're still gonna get the minimum. And I was
That's not fair.
confused at that because, well, somebody can Mickey
I'm just
Mickey
talking
Mouse
about
the
vacant
pipes and turn it
properties, that's
on.
all. I'm
Theoretically.
not saying it would be the
but-
same as water.
No.
I'm just saying that's how many vacant properties we have.
But we don't have, right now, people are opting out, especially the multifamily. There is no consolidated figures on that yet, which we are going to be, that's less income by how many units. You know, the whole bottom of West Street is all, I think, 4 units apartments, and most of them have gone with a private hauler. So how many does that impact the income? We don't know.
Well, I'm just telling you what she's been
And
saying.
I will tell you, yes, I've been watching the council and been involved in the town, not in your level, but watching and paying attention for years. Yeah, there's some dirty games. I refuse to play dirty
I'm not
games.
calling them dirty, I'm just saying.
Well, you were saying it leads to whatever it leads to. You know what, I would have played the numbers and had, like you know, you're well aware, but go Robert's rules, get somebody in the prevailing side to change the vote and say no. Then it's dead. I am respecting the vote of the board, and I just want to put this on hold so that we can make an educated decision on the numbers. We're not the numbers people. We don't get paid. We are people that we pay to do the job for us.
Mine are just ballpark figures. I don't see why
Exactly.
it would take them that long to come up
Well,
with the figures.
we have to give it enough time for that data to come in, is what I've been told. So,
With no definite date. We're gonna bring it to you, but we don't know when. So that's my concern.
well, I will, as long as I'm sitting here, I will keep track of it as long as they can get, if they want to get me numbers, because my whole concern is, yes, you and I can take the senior discount as an advantage.
Not me, I'm opted out.
But you opted out?
I've opted out, but
Okay.
I'm here on behalf of other people. who
Okay,
just
not a problem.
As their
But-
elected official to come here and talk.
The point being is that, sitting here, we have to be responsible to the requests of the people, but we also have to be responsible, like you are when you sit upstairs, to the rest of the community. In this case, the ratepayers. And I don't want to take a chance with what I'm being told, and I can't tell them they're right, wrong, or indifferent. I asked them, do you have a timeline? They gave me a timeline from here to here, which is realistic.
Right.
I don't know. So halfway to this one, I'm gonna be knocking on the door. That's my plan. What do you got? Because I don't wanna turn around and do what may be right for people at $1.22 a day per unit, and then have the rate go up because we didn't have the revenue because people opted out. This is the concern of the finance people. That we're only a month and a half into the system. The first quarter isn't even done yet. And we still have a bunch of people opting out. Doesn't mean they're paying their bills anyway. There's a lot of moving parts to this. And personally, I don't like the what ifs. I like the what is.
I would also say, and I would argue that putting it on hold, or asking it to be postponed, or doing whatever, it still has to be the prevailing side, but I wouldn't argue with that because I'm sure the prevailing side wants to go ahead and put this on hold. So I wasn't gonna argue that point, but just to say, well, I'm not trying to stop it. Well, putting it on hold is stopping it, and it has to be the prevailing side. The other thing that I wanted to say is, I thought $30 a quarter was quite generous of you to offer that. Kevin Splanoff came up, I think, the first time he spoke about this, $50 a year. That's what I thought this was gonna be, about $50 a year. So my own feeling is you should just go ahead with the public hearing, and if you wanna change it at the public hearing, I don't see what's wrong with that. $50 a year, I don't think that's gonna have hardly any impact on the budgeted cost for this, so, that's all.
I know one of the concerns I have, and I actually talked to you about this the other day, is the fact that if we don't have all of the necessary data and we go through public hearing, what happens if we find out later that we end up having to make changes, and worse, maybe rescind the kind of exemptions that we then vote? That would just create a huge mess.
Well, to me,
Or
in the way it was
cut them,
explained
or
to
make
me,
changes to them, or whatever it is. That
we would have to
do.
go and take another vote
We would,
to get rid of a regulation,
I think.
or the finance people add it to the rate, or cut service.
Well, that's my point. And
There's gotta be some way to balance this.
well, my point is that the internal stuff is not my point. It's the reaction of the citizenry.
Oh, the
When they-
reaction
when
now
they-
is
when
crazy,
they-
so we don't wanna add to it.
Exactly, that's my point. Is that if they get a discount and all of a sudden they say, oh, by the way, you're not getting a discount anymore. People freak out like that for good reason. They
Yeah,
just-
then-
That's not fair to anybody.
Is it necessary that you vote at the public hearing, or can you
Yes.
hold a public hearing and then postpone the vote? That's not how it works? I'm not
I
sure.
believe you have to vote
Public hearings.
right then and there.
Because we're bringing the regulation up to the public to adopt it or not adopt it. And you know, if we don't adopt it, it's gone. I don't want to get to that point where it may be gone when we have the alternative. And I'm willing to take an amendment to this from the board to say that we put it on hold for 6 months pending a cost analysis, and then I get in Michelle's office and all this other stuff and come back to the board and give them a report on where we are with financial information. I don't care if we go 6 month stints instead of postpone it until we get,
I would say 3 months.
I'm
know.
thinking September.
I have August
Short
8th
that.
as the date. I
3
was gonna
months.
suggest that the finance committee come
That's
back.
fine.
That's
That's fine.
3 months. That'll give us,
well, I was only saying 6 months because it will be 2 quarters.
Right, right.
Get
Half a year.
half that year done. Let's see where we're sitting, see if they had numbers. Let them know that we put this on hold for 6 months so that they have the task, see what you can do for us in 6 months.
Right.
And then we come back and try to make an educated decision and reevaluate this. Just my thoughts. It's up to the board.
I know as far as the public hearing thing goes, I don't know if we legally have to vote at the end of the public hearing. Because in some cases, I would see the public
You
hearing,
do not have to vote on
that's
that.
what I thought. It's because logically, to me, a public hearing is to get input from the public in case we want to make changes, which we obviously wouldn't be able to vote on at that night. But either way, I think the idea of postponing it until either August or September, that works.
But then you would have the public hearing out of the way, correct? Correct? Would you
But
have
what
to
if
have
things
another
change?
public hearing?
What if that's just the.
No,
If
that-
things change.
No.
it changes, then we have to
This
have
would,
another
we
one.
would not be required to do a public hearing till after that. If an amendment is put on this, to look at it again.
Okay. I
Then
wasn't
at
sure.
that point, we've got the 2 weeks of advertising for a public meeting
Right.
to take it
Right,
to the citizenry.
right.
Right now, if, whatever the time limit the board deems, we would not waste the time and the money to advertise and all this other good stuff and waste the citizens' time to come here to give their opinions on something that we're not gonna act on for another 4 months.
But then we change somewhere.
And that's a waste of time.
Yeah,
And that's the way I was looking at it by having a special meeting,
that makes sense.
instead of having it in 2 weeks for nothing.
Right.
Because you know, we all volunteer our time and we have too much hours now. And we got too much work to do to waste time.
Sure. Agreed.
So, if anybody wants to entertain a motion to put a time limit on this, I'll entertain the motions. If not,
I'll put a motion that we,
an amendment, I should say, friendly amendment.
all right, I'll
If
make
you
an
want.
amendment.
Well, we haven't technically made a motion.
We haven't even made a
Oh,
motion on
We
this
haven't
yet.
made a motion.
All right, so that was my, you're right. Thank you for catching me. It's a
So I'm gonna make a motion.
senior moment. Let's have a motion,
I'll
to-
make the motion for agenda item 3.
Okay.
3A.
Yeah.
Let's go 3A. Second?
On what time?
Second.
No, we're just making a motion to,
You
We
can,
can discuss.
I just want to point out, you haven't, you can make the motion with the time, because we don't yet have a motion on the floor. So you
That's
can
I
what
just
he
made the
as you
motion
want.
open, I
You
just made the
put
motion on the floor, because we forgot to do it.
That's technically true.
Okay, so we have Mr. Splain, Mr. Provost is the second motion to
Got that.
discuss A. Okay,
So now,
anything else on A?
Now you can, now you.
now I can make my amended motion to
Revisit.
revisit 3A on, we're gonna go with that September 12th date,
I would think you would want both.
You wanna go to
for
the-
same date.
July, August, September?
so it'll be September 12th. That'll give 6 months in, but we have to have information back from,
Do you want to go to September 12th for our first meeting in October?
Well, it started in April, so October would be 6 months, right?
That should
Yeah,
be
the second
3.
quarter completion will be September, the last day of September 30. So the second meeting, the second Thursday in October, our regular meeting would be the 10th. Would that,
shame on you.
would that work for you?
10:10?
10/10.
Then
So,
And then that will be past the halfway mark
That'd be-
of the
yeah.
year.
We're already talking about October.
but with my amendment,
also,
we need to have all the data from the treasurer's department
By then.
Correct.
by that meeting.
That's what my goal is to get as much data as they're gonna be able to give us between Dean, between Michelle, between Jack, whoever they're gonna put on this,
I'm gonna make a
see what we
friendly
can get.
amendment that we
Who seconded it?
postpone until 10/10.
Got it.
Just to clarify, are you talking about postponing the public hearing till 10:10?
No.
Or
No,
more decision
3A.
of setting? the-
Actually, it's revisit
It's to
Yes.
revisit.
item A, the vacancies on the 10/10/24 meeting.
So what about item B?
We'll
So if
just
we do the
discuss
same
that
thing on
separately.
item B when we talk about it, that ends up stopping the public hearing for.
Right, that's, you can do both.
You got that,
Anything
Patty?
else on that friendly amendment?
You're all set on that?
Yep.
And you're recommending that the data.
B, and yeah, make sure that the data is provided by then. She has that.
Okay, anything else on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion as it's amended? All opposed, seeing none opposed, unanimous of all those present. Okay, take a motion to open B,
Motion.
3B senior discounts. Okay, we have Mr. Splain, Mr. Gill. Okay. Do you want the same friendly amendment?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, so the
And
amendment
just
will
switch it
be,
to agenda B, senior discount
and we'll revisit that with information
on
on
10/10.
10/10/24. So that was motion by Mr. Splain, second by Mr. Steves. Any other questions on the motion with the friendly amendment?
Shouldn't this be reversed though, because Kevin voted against it, Gil voted in favor of it, so he's on the prevailing side.
But postponing this, I don't think we need a prevailing side because we're not taking it off the table. We're not changing the vote.
Right.
It's just a matter of switching.
all right, troublemaker.
And I'm not, yeah. Because otherwise it would say rescind.
Right, we're not seeing.
Because Gil was on the prevailing side for the senior wage, the senior discount. So otherwise, the thing would have said rescind the vote. And I don't want to do that because the board voted. So that's why we're just revisiting it 10/10/24.
Mhm.
And I'll gain the information and have it for the board. And if we like the information, if we don't, we'll charge them with digging deeper.
Yeah.
Anything else with the 3B with the amendment? Seeing none? All in favor with the amendment? All opposed, seeing no opposed, unanimous of all those present. Okay, agenda 4, adjournment.
Motion.
Second.
Wow.
We all guilty.
Okay,
I got things I gotta do today.
Second.
all in favor of adjourning the meeting, 10:25 a.m.?
Provost.
So moved, all in favor. Thank you.
Thank you, board members. Excellent. Good job.